This video will go over the types of data that can be entered into your database. The database has the capacity to store chemical, geological, and hydrogeological data. The system can be used to plan sampling events, track projects, validate analytical data, generate final reports, perform data usability assessments, and view data in spatial systems. Each of these functions has a different data type associated with it. Note that your client will determine the exact requirements for your project. What data types are required to upload chemistry data to the database? Of course, the lab will need to submit a ChemLab file, but several other types of supporting data will need to be entered first. To start off, you will need to create a digitized version of your UFP-QAP, an eQAP, and establish locations. Once the eQAP is set up, the project chemists will have the opportunity to review it. We also recommend that the lab review the eQAP, since it will tell them which methods and analytes are expected for the project. As for locations, the data is entered under Tools, Data, Submission. The data will be screened for errors and then certified once it's error-free. The data will then be reviewed and approved by a data reviewer under Tools, Data, Approval. There are two parts to entering location data: the location definition and location site cross-reference tables. These tables are the foundation for all successive data loaded into the database. A clearly defined location with an associated site ensures that data will join seamlessly to the correct geographic point. Before the lab can submit their chemistry data, the chain of custody information must be entered into the database as well. To do so, we recommend starting with the Event Management tool. Event Management allows you to plan your event and track its progress. Both chemistry and geology data can be planned and tracked. It is recommended to plan all applicable data types. The information filled out in Event Management includes which locations will be sampled for which type of data, as well as sampling specifics for the event. All of the sampling information entered into Event Management flows through to populate chains of custody information. The chain of custody information is entered as the Chem Field data type under Tools, Data, Submission. Once the ChemField file is certified, the lab can load their data. For more information, refer to our laboratory submission tutorial linked in the description. Once lab data is uploaded, validation tools in the database can be used to build the data validation report. Validators can review, modify, and finalize qualifiers directly within the interface. Final qualifiers will need to be applied in the database, even if the validation report is created without the aid of our tools. Once validation qualifiers are approved by the project chemist, the PDT may opt to perform a final data usability assessment using the database tools. What types of geology data can be entered into the database? Geology data that can be uploaded include the following. Note, certain data types may not apply to your project, so it is recommended to check with your PDT. The lithology data type allows you to enter the different strata from your boring log. You can specify the depths of each segment and describe them. Well completion information and well construction intervals are typically entered based on the well construction diagram. These data types are typically entered only once per location. Environmental measurements and groundwater levels may be entered for each sampling event. Analyses measured in the field are entered as environmental measurements. Common examples include parameters such as pH, temperature, and specific conductivity. They are typically entered based on the groundwater sample collection log. Groundwater levels are used to track changes in water elevation and are typically based on the same log. Don't forget to subscribe to the Synectics YouTube channel for more tutorial videos. All of the tutorials and playlists mentioned during this video are linked in the description below. Lastly, if you have questions or comments, feel free to contact us at support@synectics.net. Thank you.